I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. I don't mean to sound like a broken record here when I talk about the former governor of New Jersey, Republican Chris Christie, and stating how I vehemently disagree with Chris Christie on a lot of issues, and I also believe that Chris Christie aided and abetted Donald Trump in material ways, and that is essentially unforgivable. But I need to highlight where Chris Christie, who's campaigning for the Republican presidential nomination, is just out there speaking the truth and saying some very powerful things and actually criticizing Donald Trump, unlike all of the other nominees. And Chris Christie is a former United States attorney, former top prosecutor, someone who's a great prosecutor. And so watching him prosecute the case against Donald Trump just as a lawyer is something I enjoy watching and sharing with you. How Chris Christie is making, I think, a very powerful case, one that we make here a lot on the MeidasTouch Network, about just how disqualifying all of Donald Trump's behavior and conduct is. That we putting it lightly. So here is Chris Christie at a campaign event saying that Donald Trump claimed he was going to balance the budget, but he actually added trillions of trillions to the deficit. Play the clip.
He said, I will balance the budget in 4 years because I'm a businessman and I know how to balance budgets. And you know what he did? He added $6 trillion to the national debt in 4 years. Shocking. But it shouldn't be. Because this is the guy who, in my home state, sent his 3 casinos bankrupt 3 times. Now let me ask you a question. Who can't make money with a casino? I mean, how damn stupid do you have to be to not be able to make money in a casino? They always win. How many of you have ever come out of casino saying, like, man, 5th time in a row I've won? I never have.
Here, Chris Christie criticizes another Republican nominee, Tim Scott, MAGA Republican Tim Scott, who refuses to call out Donald Trump and basically says Trump did nothing wrong during the insurrection. Watch how Chris Christie goes after Tim Scott, but then pivots and says, look, what this is about is Trump. Let's look at Trump's conduct. Play the clip.
I think Tim's a good man. I've known him for 10 years, and I don't have a bad thing to say about Tim. I really don't. But he was asked yesterday if Donald Trump is responsible for January 6th. And he said no. Donald Trump invited all those people to Washington on January 6th. In fact, tweeted out and told them, come to Washington. It's going to be wild. That was the invite. It's going to be wild. Then when he got them there, he gave them a speech where he once again repeated the lie that the election had been stolen from him, which is a lie. And then he told them, since you brought up Mike Pence, that Mike Pence could change the whole thing, and if he doesn't, he's letting us all down. Now, I don't know if he knew that they were going to be violent, but he's certainly given them all the reason to be. And then he goes back into the Oval Office, into his little dining room off the Oval Office with his well-done hamburger, eating his lunch, and watching these people desecrate the Capitol of the United States and injure and kill people. And he sat there and did nothing for hours. Tim, explain to me how that doesn't make that person responsible for what happened on January 6th. I'm not saying it means he has to go to jail. I don't know. I'm talking about moral responsibility as the president of the United States. It is disgraceful what he did that day. And it is disappointing that Tim Scott said what he said yesterday for the hope that he could pander to some people who currently support Donald Trump and he thinks may leave Donald Trump after all these indictments. And then they'll look at Tim. Well, Tim didn't say bad things about Donald Trump, so maybe I'll vote for him. That's wrong.
Here, Chris Christie is asked about Donald Trump skipping the debates. Love this answer. Play the clip.
What if he's not on that debate stage? What does that do to you?
Makes my life even better, because then I won't have to talk over him. You know him, he loves to interrupt everybody. So my biggest debate prep would be to get my voice even louder than his so I could talk over him. Look, I'm going to talk about Donald Trump and his record, whether he's on the stage or he's not on the stage. So my suggestion to him is get on the stage so there's going to be somebody there to defend why you didn't build any more than 52 miles of wall in 4 years and that Mexico hasn't paid for it.
Here, Chris Christie explains, folks, you do realize Donald Trump was talking about suspending the Constitution? Suspending the Constitution? Play this clip.
We need to move on. We need to move on to a president who understands what law enforcement is all about. And I end the answer with this. He said that it was okay to suspend the Constitution if you think the election was stolen from you. And when he was asked about that by Bret Baier, he stood behind it. Now, I want to remind you what the oath of office is for President of the United States. One of the things you swear to do with your hand on a Bible is to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Not suspend, defend. Anybody, in my opinion, who says that it's okay to suspend the Constitution is disqualified from being President of the United States. He is disqualified.
And finally, Chris Christie at the campaign event saying, this is how Trump will try to end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours by handing Zelensky over to Vladimir Putin. Play the clip.
And Trump says, I love this. He'll settle it in 24 hours, right? Same way Mexico paid for the wall. Same way he balanced the budget. Same way he repealed Obamacare. He'll settle it. You know what? If he does settle in 24 hours, you know the way he'll do it? By handing Zelensky over to the Russians. Because he said on TV just a week ago that Putin is a good guy. He said that President Xi is brilliant and straight out of Hollywood. Who is this guy? And look, these are serious issues, everybody. This is not a friggin' TV show. This is not in a fake boardroom in New York City, sitting across from some celebrity and saying you're fired. That's entertainment. This is our livelihoods.
And folks, look, again, I disagree with Chris Christie on a lot of things, but there's some objective data, some objective truth, some objective reality. And what Chris Christie is saying here is all true. You know, and I think it is important to share his views, to share what he is saying. It is unimpeachable what he is saying, backed by data. We all saw it. We all know what went down on January 6th. We all know how Donald Trump behaves. You know, and I just think it's important that we increasingly use this time from now until the election. You know, yes, do we preach to the choir? Well, you want to have a choir singing loud. You want your choir to be motivated. You want your choir to know the truth. But look, if you look in the comments, if you look at the Meidas Mighty community as a whole, there are a ton of independents, a ton of former Republicans, a ton of people who say, look, I'm conservative. I'm a conservative. But this MAGA Republican Party, they ain't conservative. I agree. This MAGA Republican, there's nothing conservative about them. That's why I refuse to call MAGA Republicans conservative. And look, it's good to have Chris Christie saying these things. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the debate stage. And that's something we're going to cover here on the MeidasTouch Network as well. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers thanks to your support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Wherever you get audio podcasts, subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. Have a great day. Hit subscribe on YouTube. It's free.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.